Today's episode is brought to you by Sick Cat Customs. Tattoos, clothing, graphics, and web design. SickCatCustoms.com. Music for this episode provided by Splatterhouse Records. Check them out at SplatterhouseRecords.com. Kitty Mansfield's wardrobe provided by Coming Up Roses Vintage. ComingUpRosesVintage.com.
Hello from Vintage Customs in Tacoma, Washington. Take a look at all the cars in this shop. On today's episode of Go-Kustom TV, we're headed out to Silverdale, Washington to check out the Custom Culture Festival. This annual event was started as a pinup pageant and car show by Hannah Lynn Reed and Chuck Mitchell of the Rocket Roost. It has grown every year to include dozens of bands, hundreds of cars, and thousands of people. So sit back, hang on, and get ready for Go-Kustom TV.
My 56 gasser, straight axle car. It's out of a 55 to 59 Chevy pickup. Steering box, 67 Mustang, connected to 55 tie rod ends, 54 drum brakes. The front frame horn's been cut off, back of the frame, and then added this 2x4 square tubing, which allows the straight axle to be installed. You can do it on a stock frame. This just makes it much squarer, much straighter. There's lots of ways to build the front end. This is just the way I chose to do it. Get rid of push-pull steering, 67 Mustang steering box, and a cross-steer situation, so at 115 miles an hour, it's straight as an arrow. We've got a 71 350 automatic, fender well headers. It's a 57 Pontiac rear end with Dutchman axles, 488 gears, 69 350, small block Chevy, Edelbrock high-rise, two 500 Edelbrock carburetors on it. Basically period correct from the 60s. The battery still sits in the front because if I put the battery in the trunk, it requires a disconnect switch and all kinds of things that I don't want to go through. I had it in the trunk and it's just a pain in the ass to drag strip, so it's easier to put it back in the front. I run the car a couple times. It's run as fast as 1180. I don't run it much anymore just because every time I take it out, I break it. Added a couple seat belts for drag racing purposes, and other than that, it's just a lot of fun to drive.
My name's Jeremy, and I got here my 1955 Pontiac Chieftain. Put a 400 small block in it, dual fours, open headers. Built this car about 10 years ago, and it sat for a few years while I was trying to start my body shop, and we just got it back on the road about 2 weeks ago. I'm going to keep the hood off for now. The paint is actually not a primer. It's actually a single stage paint to simulate what the black primer would be. A little bit more durable for the weather around here. We shaved the door handles, just kind of a mild custom. The car kind of came into its own. It wasn't a very popular car 10 years ago. Took it up to the Hot Rod of Fame last weekend and got a lot of compliments on it. 10 years ago, nobody really wanted this car. It's just kind of now coming into where people are starting to appreciate it. Even I'm starting to appreciate it. When I built the car, I really wasn't into it. Everybody wants a 55 Chev, so it's a little bit different, and people are starting to like it now.
Hello, my name's Herb Anderson. I'm from Bonnie Lake, Washington. Built this 1938 Chev pickup here. I kind of wanted to build a Hot Wheels car, something you played with when you were a kid. I'm sure we all did, and that's what did it for me. And I got the engine as high as I could to kind of keep the cops off me as best I could, but I still get in a little trouble with it. Everything on this truck I I built out of my shop. I've got a total of $1,962 into it. Things like, I don't know, pry bars for shock mounts. The other end, pry bars for the headlight mounts. My chain, everything's out of my garage. These are semi lug nut covers that, even my bicycle chain, anything and everything I could find. These were my original headlights, and I decided they were too small, so I got these headlights, and then I had some leftover headers, and so I drilled the holes and welded those in there and thought, well, hell, those look cool. Who doesn't like stacks? So these machine gun tips I built 1,032 times. I drilled these things because you drill a pilot hole, then a bigger hole, and a bigger hole. So that was a lot of work. Kind of a cool story on the bumper. Turns out I was at a car show, and this guy comes up to me and he says, where'd you get that bumper? And I says, well, I got it at a pawn shop. And he said, yeah, well, that's illegal to export out of Italy. And I said, oh, really? And he says, yeah, I used to work on the shipyards in Italy, because he recognized some lettering on the wrench, and he was kind of upset with me that I welded it on the back of my truck as a bumper. But hey, it's my truck. I'll do what I want. Like I said, $1,962 into this thing, and that's it, man. So if you can do it at home, out of the parts out of your shop, you can weld and paint and do electrical and plumb, you can do it, man. So anybody can do it. Just do it. So my frame, it ended up being a Tri-5 Chevy back half frame rails, and I cut them in half and flipped them around. That's how I Z'd the front. The back is 4-linked. I took the other half and welded it back there. I don't know, it's funner than hell. And then in the background there, that's my 50 Buick Roadmaster. All right, it's me again, and this is my other car, 1950 Buick Roadmaster. Waterfall grill, everything's pretty much stock on this car, except for the visor, the spotlights, some headlight trim, the hubcaps, stuff like that. But, back in the day, what did they do? They cruised to the restaurants, they ate ice cream, so I thought it'd be a cool idea to paint it ice cream colors. So this is called ice cream and lime green. It's the one that I run around in with all my buddies, and we go bar hopping or jump around be in my buddies' shops and whatnot, and tell lies. Yeah, the spotlights on it are dummy spotlights. They're not real spotlights, but I didn't want to drill the holes any more than 2 sheet metal screws through the stainless. Yeah, no, everything on my cars I do myself. I've got a complete shop. I do all the paint and fabrication, everything. So I chose those 2 colors. I thought it looks good. It pops real good. Looks good rolling down the road. I did a poor man lowering kit. I heated the springs so it kind of rides a little rough. But what the hell? It's all fun, right? That's it. 1950 Buick Roadmaster.
You're watching Go-Kustom TV.
Alright, this is Hatchet Mike Roberts. I got a 65 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. We're now calling it Chop de Ville since I chopped the top of it about 4 inches over the winter. Had to widen it about 3 and lengthen it 4 inches. Kept the stock pillars exactly where they were at. Had to chop off the top of the windshield. Got a plexiglass rear window. Etched the back glass with some spider webs. Etched the bumpers with spider webs. It's all a rattle can paint job, mostly Krylon. I've got a hand-rubbed glitter flake in the top of it. Just finished up the houndstooth interior on it, and threw in some custom crystal clear headlights with H4 conversions. A little bit of green glow when they come down the road. Got the lake pipes on it, some nice white walls. It's just a super clean cruiser and just been having fun with it from day one. It's taken me about 5 years to build this project and don't see any sense in stopping, so we'll keep continuing with it and keep it custom.
All right, how we doing? My name's Strange Josh, strangerods.com, and this is my 1931 four-door sedan Model A that I built myself, all custom. Bought the body for $500 and then sat out in the back for a couple years. Built my own frame out of 2x3 rectangular tubing. It's got a 31 straight axle on it with split wishbones. It's got a custom-built small block Chevy in it that there's nothing stock but the block. It's got a Franklin quick change, which is a circle track race car rear end, if anybody knows what a real quick change is. Run 3 7-gears in it. It runs on avgas. It's 11.5 to 1 compression. Dual custom exhaust that I built all myself. It's got fat white walls all the way around it. It's got the original seat pan. And then it's got 483 custom louvers in it. Made my own roof and then punched 392 in the top. And then in the back where the license plate and everything is, I pulled the back panel off and put 91 in the back. There would have been 93, but there's a bullet hole there and I had to keep the bullet hole. Shot it primer red with hot rod flats, and it's just fun. 32 original grill shell. I built it all. It took me 3 winters. I only work on my cars from October to May, and then I have fun all summer. So yeah, it's been fun. My little boys, they like it, and we just all go cruising everywhere.
Hi, I'm Mike Dawson. I'm from Vashon Island, Washington, and this is my 1970 Dart. My dad bought the car new in 1970 as a 318 family car, and I picked it up from him in 75. It's the first car I ever had, and I've been doing stuff to it ever since. It's had a 340 since 1978, and a variety of camshafts and induction systems on it and so forth. I bought the engine in 1978 and put it in. It's a 68 340 block with 10 5-to-1 pistons and has 340 TA heads with the canted valve gear and the adjustable rocker arms and so forth. Used to be the hot ticket back in the 70s, but certainly modern heads have changed all that. So it has a rare STR-12 cross ram manifold that was designed by Edelbrock and sold by Direct Connection. Has 2 500 Edelbrocks on it, and went back to cast iron manifolds after my 4th set of headers got beat up on the street. So the interior, the green 2-tone interior is the original interior for the car. I had it all redone from Legendary, and they use these seats actually as the pattern and now offer this for the 1970 Customs. The car's kind of odd because it's a 2-door Dart Custom. There weren't a lot of them made. They were never 340 cars, always 318 or 6-cylinder cars. And it's also the base for a 70 Dart GT, which was identical except it had bucket seats and a console. We redid the entire car in 1999 and 2000. And so that's how old the paint is, and that's how long it's been since the engine's been rebuilt. But it's a blast to drive, no question about it. These days I drive it about 3,000 or 4,000 miles a year to car shows, drag race it once or twice a year at Bremerton. It's a blast.
I'm Patrick McAuliffe, owner of Those Guys Rod and Customs in Bremerton, Washington. We're here at the 4th annual Custom Culture Festival. Have a vendor booth here and showing off some of the stuff we've done for the festival today. We made the trophies for the participants and just kind of hanging out with our 53 Chevy 150 Handyman station wagon that we've done at our shop. Shop mainly focuses on 4-wheel drive fabrication, About 2/3 of our work is involved in that market. We also do street rod restoration, from basic rust repair to full-on complete builds. We also have a 4x8 CNC plasma table, so we do a lot of street rod artwork, residential artwork, gateworks. But we also just wanted a clean rig for the shop, something we could run parts in and kind of fit in with the street rod aspect of what we do. So we built this little handyman. Took a 53 handyman wagon, did a TCI Mustang 2 front clip under it, disc brakes, drop spindles, did power brakes under the floor, dropped a small block Chevy automatic, changed out the rear end, lowered it as much as we could get and feasibly drive it. Did some little things to keep the interior all stock, kept the 3 on the tree shifting, but adapted it for the automatic transmission. So keeps the stock in appearance, but with the power brakes and automatic, makes it feasibly drivable for anyone to hop in and run down the street, grab some coffee or grab some parts. So we brought it down to the show, had a couple people out here looking at it, just kind of shows the other end of the spectrum of what we do at our shop, and that's about it.
You're watching Go-Kustom TV.
My name is Ron Brumbelow, and from Quill Scene, and we have our cars that we race. We call ourselves a Quill Scene Power Company. This particular car is a 41 Willys gasser. It is an all-glass body with a tip-forward front end. Slicks, raised front end as the old original gasser style. For power, we have a 541-inch big block Chevy, Hillborn fuel injected on alcohol, roller cam. It's about 1,100 horsepower. Behind that, we have a 2-speed power glide transmission with a stall on the torque converter of 6,000 RPM, and it feeds into a 9-inch Ford rear end, which now we have 456 gears in. When we go for speed on a quarter mile, we usually go with 411s to get it up around 155. The car turns mid 150s and mid 8s on the quarter mile. And I guess that's about all I can tell you about the car.
Hey, my name's Danny Echeverria. I'm here at Custom Culture Festival 2012, and I'm here with my 1950s JC Higgins that it was a female's bike. I cut it up, stretched it, turned it into basically a male's bike. I seen somebody else in the town I live in that had one, and I mean, it was similar to the one I have, and I liked the idea, and I took it and I turned it into my own, and I ride it a lot. The bike was built probably a couple months ago, and it's probably got about 80 miles on it already. I ride it every day. I did all the fabrication. My drunk friend cut it up, and it was sitting in his garage, so I decided to take it off his hands and do something with it. It's gonna be a Hot Rods Flats blue with white wheels, white walls, Mexi blanket seat, chromes, forks, bars, and then we'll go from there.